Hopefully somebody will. I'll move this and move you back. Yeah. L2, B2, D, F, B prime, L2, U. Wait. U2, L prime, F, U2, F2, L prime, U2, R prime, F2, U2, D2, L, D2, F2, R2. Okay, so I have this piece, these two pieces. They're connected. Also, I have this cross piece. This cross piece, okay. Oh, okay. Now into that insertion, into there, that, allow, into here. Okay, white top green front. B, D2, R2, B2, D2, R2, B prime, D2, F, D2, R2, B, D, U prime, R prime, F prime, D2, R, F prime, L, R2. Okay, 1, 2 pairs, okay. So how could I use that? I could do that. Yeah, I might do that. Into that insertion. Insert that into the back. .651 average. Okay, that is a good solve. Into inserting that. And yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do a cuber's version of a Rickroll. Corner twist. Okay. D2, B2, U, L2, U prime, B2, D, F2, L2, D prime, B2, R2, B prime, D, L, F prime, D2, R prime, U prime, F, U. I could do that. Okay, into that. Into inserting that. Okay, white top, green front, F2, L2, R2, F2, U2, L2, D, B2, R2, D, F2, R prime, D, U prime, L, R2, B, L, D, L2, F prime. Okay, I do have that piece. What will I do? Okay. Into inserting that. Into inserting that. Into inserting that. OL and PLL. B2D2, B2DU2, B2U, L2D prime, F2R2U, LDU, B, L prime, D2U prime, LU2. Okay. We will go like that. Into inserting that, and then I have like a free place where I could do that type of insertion, but no, I'm gonna mess up this solve. Okay, who's watching? Oh, you left. Okay, right top green front L, U2, R prime, F2, L, D2, B2, R prime, D2, R, D2, R, D prime, U prime, R, F prime, D2, F, D2, U, F. Okay, here is the insertion, which is just going to be fast. $14.615. That is a good solve. Okay, now R2 U2 B2 R2 F L2 F prime L2 D2. Okay. Could do that. Yeah, that is gonna be what I'm gonna do. Into inserting that. Into inserting that. And PLL. Okay, done. 14. 2 14s in a row. Look. Whoa. Okay. Average is 19.651. I'm by 1,570 solves. Okay. R2, B2, U2. No, not U2. U, B2, L2, R2, U prime, L2, B2, D, B2, U, B prime, U2, R prime, D, L, U, B2, D, B2, D2. Okay. Now into that insertion, into that. And PLL skip. 2 14s and then a 15. Yes. Okay. Average of 5 is 16.460. Okay. FU, FB, R prime, D prime, R. FU, L, F2, U2, F2, R2, FD2, B, L2, F2, R2, B. Yes, 15.8. My average is 15.588. Yes. Okay, can I get it down to 14? F, B, U prime, D, B, D prime, B prime, L prime, B, U2 R prime B2 L D2 L2 F2 R prime F2 L prime D2 F2. Okay, will I do it now into, okay, I'm gonna just switch over to this. You should never do what I just did because I just messed up the solve. I will not get a, yeah, it's a 20-second solve. Never switch over crosses because you see a good thing. B prime R2 F prime U2 R2 B2 U2 F U2 B prime D2 F prime L U prime B U2 R U prime L R2 F. Okay. I could do a D move, then an R prime, and then a D2, and then an R prime into this pier, which is just fast, into inserting that into OL and PLL 16.217. Okay, it was just the last solve. L2 F2 L2 D prime B2 U2 B2 F2 L2 U F2 U2 B prime D L prime U prime B prime R U prime D prime R2 U2. Okay, this solve I'm gonna just try inspecting. Now into that insertion into the left side, into that insertion, that OL, and POL. Yes! 17.708. Okay, B2 L prime F2 R2 D2 L2 U2 R U2 F2 L prime F2 U R U2 R D prime B prime D2 U2 F. Okay. Now into that insertion, into that insertion, into that. Oh no. Garbage solve. 19-second average of 5. Okay. R prime F2 L U2 L prime D2 F2 L2 D2 R prime B2 L B D2 L D F2 D2 F prime L2 D R. Okay, I am gonna insert that into there, into inserting that, OL, and PLL. 18.226 seconds. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's continue. Okay, something just happened. Okay. Let's watch this. Okay. This is an insertion into that. Oil. Yeah. Do you like that PLL algorithm? M2U prime, M2U prime, M2U prime, M2U prime, M2U prime, M2U prime. Okay, B2, D2, F2, DL, L2, D2, R2, D prime, F2, R2, B2, R2, B prime, R2, D, F, R prime, U prime, B prime, D prime, F prime, R prime. Okay, so I have these two pieces. Now let's insert that into that insertion, to that, and PLL. Okay, white top, green front. RU2, L2, D prime, R, D prime, L prime, D, F prime, U, R2, D prime, L2, B2, D prime, F2, R, no, B2, F2, B2, R2, B2, D2, F2. To this insertion, into that insertion, into the left, OL, and PLL. Okay, that was a terrible solve. Garbage. I'm 17 minutes into this live stream. Okay, R2D, U2B, 2U. I meant U prime, F2, L2, B prime, D2, R prime, B, F, D prime, L, D2, L2, F2. Okay, let's insert that into that insertion. This is going to be a good solve, I could tell. 12.129, that's the best solve of this session. 1 second, I'm going to turn on a light. So once it gets dark, it could be light. Okay. Oh, sure. Okay. Let's continue. White top, green front. B2, D, L2, F2, U2, F2, U, L2, D2, F2, L2, U2, F prime, U prime, R2, B prime, U, L, D, F prime, D. Now into that insertion. What just happened? Oh my god. No, that's what I did. No, I just messed up this whole entire solve. Oh my god. Okay. Garbage. I hate corner twists. That's why I get a 30 every single time that I get a corner twist. That's the only reason. Not because I'm bad. It's because I got a corner twist. Okay, white top, green front, R, F2, D2, F2, L2, F prime, F2, R prime, U2, L R U2 R prime D F D2 U2 L prime U B prime F2 D. Okay, I'm gonna do the red cross because that is the world record cross. Into that insertion. Into that insertion. That piece goes in there like that. Oil and peel. 17.498 seconds. Okay, white top, green front, D2, B2, U2, B2, U prime, B2, U2, R2, F2, U prime, R2, U prime, L prime, D prime, L, B prime, L prime, D prime, U prime, F, R2, U. Okay, let's insert that into that insertion, into that insertion. OL and POL. Should I try having like a smooth solve? Oh, I'm by 21 minutes and I got a 21-second solve. D prime R2 B2 B2 R2 B2 U prime F2 D prime U L2 D U prime L D2 F D prime R prime B prime R prime F2 L prime R2. Okay, let's do this. This is an okay scramble. I'm just gonna insert that into that insertion, into that insertion, that oil, and peel. 16.708. Okay, I could do better. My average of 5 PB is 14.945. Okay. R2 L prime F U D prime L2 B prime R prime U prime R U2 R2 B2 D F2 R2 D F2 U prime D F2 B2. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm done the back 2 slots already. Okay, white top, green front, B, L2, F2, R2, B2, U2, L2, R2, B, R2, U2, F prime, R prime, U, B prime, U2, R2, F, B prime. Okay, B, L prime, R2, U prime, F. Okay, here's a cross piece and a corner edge here. Okay, don't recommend. Okay, let's insert this into that piece, into that oil, and peel oil. 17.496 seconds. Okay, RU, R2, F2U, L, F2, R prime, F, U2, R prime, L prime, B2, R2, L, U2, L prime, F2, U2, B2, U2. Okay, this is easy. I'm going to memorize the first cross piece. I meant the first... You know what I meant. Or you don't. Then are you a cuber? 19.226. Okay. U prime L2 D prime B2 R2 B2 L2 U prime L2 D prime R2 U R prime F prime D prime F prime U B prime U2 L B2 D. Okay, is this a bad scramble? Not necessarily bad, but it's bad. Now into that insertion. Okay, 0.099. Okay, B prime R prime U prime F2 D prime L prime F2 L2 D L2 U2 L2 F prime U2 F prime U2 D2 R2 B2 U2. Okay. Oh, it started raining again. Now into that insertion, into that insertion. Okay, that was a bad solve. And I didn't, that was because of the corner twist that I got like 10 solves ago. Okay? That's the reason I got a 37. Okay, but we don't want to see the 37 because it's an ugly number. L, D prime, B, R2, B, L prime, B prime, R prime, U, B prime, U2, R2, D, F2, L2, D2, F2, B2, U, B2, L2, D prime. Okay, let's try inserting this inserting this into there, into that insertion, into there. O and here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna do 2 more solves. If there's no new views by then, I'm just stopping this. Into this, into that insertion, that insertion, that insertion. Okay, that's the first solve, and then 1 more solve, and if there's no new views by then I'm just stopping. into inserting this, into that getting inserted into there, into that insertion, inserting that, and PLL. Okay, I'm done.